I wanted to let you know that this is our big event for the Vegetarian Society every year. So if you like what we do, please consider joining. It's $25 a year, not a lot of money, but it all adds up if y'all contribute. And this is the last year that a number of us are on the board. The old guard is going to move on, and we have some new young people. So please support them. We have a big table in the middle of the exhibition hall, and you can join there. Okay, so today's speaker, the first one is Patricia Koot. Patricia and her husband Dave run every Wednesday at Aqua Plaza. What do you call it?
It's our weekly Wellness Wednesday dinners, vegan, always, all the time.
Right. It's terrific. $15, it's almost all you can eat delicious food that Patricia cooks. And also there's always a speaker or a film about veganism or the topic of vegetarianism.
Yes.
And it's good. So it's an Aqua Plaza, and there's a Thanksgiving feast they're doing. So
yeah.
Hand out. And today, let's welcome Patricia.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you all. It feels so good to be here in this nice, I call it like a vegan safe environment, right? So we can talk about it, we can eat the vegan food, and it's enjoyable. I want to welcome everyone here today. I thank you for coming out, and what we're going to do is have some fun within the next 30 minutes. So, as Janet just said, I'm Patricia. I'm a nutritionist. I'm not a chef, so why am I even here, right? We're going to find out soon enough, because although I'm a nutritionist and I advocate for a plant-based diet, it doesn't really fall on deaf ears unless you can actually produce the good food, right? All of us say, oh, I'll do it for my health, but then, you have that raw kale salad and you think, nope, this isn't going down. So, you have to reevaluate. We say what we want to do, but sometimes it's, at an opposite spectrum point of what it is that we need to do for our own well-being. And, it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt or gets sick, and then it's like, oops, I should have been doing this. So today's insight is, does everyone have a recipe sheet here? I want you to refer to this recipe sheet because, yes, it does. I am sharing with you today some of my secrets. You may think, secrets? Well, think about it. If you endeavor in one direction for 15 years, as I've been doing, and the focus has been weekly community events. So a large spectrum of folks from overseas, they come to that location, they say, yeah, I think I can do this. At least I've had one great dinner out of the week. Remember, it's just one meal, 1 week out of 52 weeks of the year. So it's a good time to come, meet people, eat food, and have a good time. I wanted to share with you, starting out, something called fresh jicama fries with a surprise secret, right? How many of you folks are familiar with the little jicama? All right, you're a smart crowd, which is fantastic. I'm going to need some help with this, if you could pass this around. This is the little jicama for those of you who are not familiar. It looks a little battle-worn, doesn't it? It looks like I really wouldn't want to buy that. Bear with me, there's a bit more of a story to the story than that. So I was going to the store to get kibble for me and my husband yesterday. I thought I need to get a sample jicama because I've already sliced some of this beautiful jicama up for your benefit. And I thought, that doesn't look very good. And you know what else? It's wax. We don't want to be in the waxed foods. Why are they waxing the food? Well, you know why they wax it? Feel free to blurt it out. They wax it. I'm sorry, what?
So it's
yes, but it's not for our benefit, it's for their bottom dollar line benefit, right? And so move on. When you see a jicama that's been waxed, just move on if you can, because you're better off without it. Now, what I have for you, first of all, I'm using my hands, I'm prepping the food. I did spray them before starting, but I'm going to spray them again for, flu season, right? So here we are. And yes, the little jicama, it's a very, peasant type of food. But you'd be surprised at how nutritious it is. Would you guess how much fiber is in this little white disc of food? No, you probably wouldn't. It's a high roller in terms of fiber, as well as vitamin C content. I know you can buy it all chopped up and ready to eat, which is maybe what you want to do. As you see here, I've already pre-sliced this. This is the organic jicama. It doesn't have the ugly wax that has beautiful skin. It's heavy for its size because of the water content, right? You want it nice, young, and kind of like this, right? And now I think the samples might be ready, and they might be going around here to the group here so you can taste this. I've already pre-cut this so we can get through this demo in 30 minutes. But as you see here, this type of knife I'm using is not the type of knife to use when cutting the jicama. You want the big chef's knife. You want the heavy-duty, cleaver? Whatever's your heavy-duty knife to use. Because even though I have this knife, I have a really modest little cutting board. So here you see it's cut, and then you just want to remove this little skin here. It's easy to do before you cut it into slices, because here I'm just asking for getting cut. This is not proper cooking technique. But there it is. Yeah, if you have a French fry slicer at home, maybe? Is that what you're talking about?
The thing you carrots with it.
Oh, I have problems with those. But yes, I agree with you. Try it at home. Usually I use my knife.
Why remove the skin on the organic?
You know, these things grow underground, and even if it's organic, all the little critters in the world live underground too. So it's best to remove that. It can be tough, it can be gouged, and too fibrous to really enjoy. So please just remove the little peel or skin from the jicama. And then what did I say here? Rinse. Yes, you rinse your jicama, you peel your jicama, you cut it into those little shapes. You folks getting your little jicama samples out there. And then what did I have one time? I wasn't familiar with jicama until I read that it's good with lime juice, right? Have you folks ever enjoyed the jicama with just fresh lime juice? It's wonderful. However, my secret, and I've served it at many dinners, and my secret is lime essential oil. Now, I know for you salt, oil, sugar-free folks, you're going to flip out, perhaps. But you just need to keep in mind that you just need 1 or 2 drops to your bowl or baggie of jicama to make it delightful. Can you folks detect the lime essence in your jicama samples? I guess it would have been better perhaps to give you what do they call that? Just a sample of the jicama before any lime seasoning. But you just add a few drops to this, and it transforms your food. There's no need to fry this jicama fry. You can enjoy it fresh and in its natural state. And we're all happier and better that way. What do you folks think? Is this something you could try at home, or would you repeat? It's just delightful. Of course, you can expand on this, but when I realized how delicious it was with this essential oil, I thought, wow, I need to share it with you folks. It's like I said, it's easy, delicious, nutritious, vegan, and you bring something different to the party, right? You can make this up ahead, bring it to work, it's shelf stable, and it just goes on and on. So I also included my representative's name there on the recipe sheet. Gina, hello, and thank you. Gina actually presented at one of the Wednesday vegan dinners. And although I've been using this application of essential oil added to the jicama for years, it was another time to reconnect with her and her products. So her information is right here on your recipe sheet should you want to try and replicate this at home. You can reach out to her. Or there's also another representative here at the festival today, and you can stop by and visit with her. I just want to mention jicama, don't pass it by. It's an ugly duckling. I say that because as I was shopping for that poor little root of a vegetable yesterday, there's a gentleman who said, "What is that? How do you eat it?" And I had to tell him, and I'm sure his wife was kind of, grumbling a little bit because it looked wretched with that wax. But I did try to sell up the fiber content, the vitamin content, and you're just going to be happier. Yes, you could put it in a vat of oil and deep fry it, but why would you want to mess it up? It's already good the way it is. And also, I like it over the fact that it won't brown on you, it won't turn rancid on you, and it's good to enjoy even without a dip, which I thought was quite remarkable. You can enjoy it as it is. So with that said, does anyone have questions on the little jicama or how you can replicate that? Yes?
How long does jicama last in the fridge, or how do you store it?
Those are excellent questions. It actually lasts a really long time. However, a lot of the retail sellers will often keep it refrigerated, or they have those little misty water, things that go on it, and then it will mold. The skin will mold. And that's an excellent question, because I like to plan, I like to be all ready, and I was happily trotting around. I'm digging this out to answer your question. Thinking, I'm all ready. And then I started to cut into 1, 2, 3 jicama's I got from the stores, and they all started to have this little brown spot, only it was bigger. I thought, I can't use this. This is all bad. It was very hard to detect that it was, going bad. But look at the skin. The one that's passing around is kind of gouged, and it just doesn't look good. But once you cut into it, if you ever see the brown spot or decay spot, you got a bad one. So it gets a little tricky. I always advocate for organic food for a lot of reasons. It seems the organic jicama is a higher quality jicama, if that answers your question. Yes?
If it comes in a bad spot, you can't eat it?
No, you know why? And this is a challenging point, but once you see this spot, I can see this with my eye. But it's not to say this decay is not spreading through. It's like in the middle, right? It's like it didn't start in the middle. It's probably, decay is going throughout this whole jicama.
So it's no good to eat.
You can eat it, yes, you can eat it. And I know my frugal folks out there, well, I can just cut away the bad part. Oh, yeah, you can, but, we want to eat for strength and for health. And, when you think about it, well, you want to do yourself good, right? I would try to avoid that. Yes, Marina?
Can you boil jicama?
You can boil it, you can fry it, you can bake it, and I go on and on about that. And I've never boiled it. I wouldn't want to boil it, but it is potato-esque. And is that the basis of your question? Yeah. But it's better than potato. It doesn't, and also the carbohydrate level in here. This is a crunchy carbohydrate. This isn't a sugary sweet carbohydrate. So you can go to town on this stuff, and it's going to be good for you and do your body good, right? So you can, but I would avoid it. But yes.
Is it available all the time in most places?
It is available in most places most of the time. I do not live in a food desert. But that rotten little jicama I'm showing you today, I don't know why they even put that out there, but it should be, yes. And the ethnic markets are often,
Where's it grown? Yeah, where's it grown?
Even the organic ones that I've seen available, and it's also, I guess it's traditionally found, in Mexico, Greta, you got it. So it's usually Mexican produce. Although since it does grow underground, I don't know why it wouldn't be grown here in the United States. All right, so yes?
If you bake it, how long do you bake it? At what temperature?
Those I don't know, because I've always enjoyed my jicama without baking it. My rule of thumb is, you can probably find it out, online, but I think, wow, if I can eat the food and enjoy it, and it's easy on the dental work, right? Why would I want to bake it unless I really want something warm? But you can always play with it, get more ideas. I just wanted to share the secret of the essential oil, and that was my purpose of highlighting the jicama the way I did today. All right, everybody set on the jicama. Everyone got a taste of the jicama? Everyone have recipe sheets that need them? Okay. No? Ooh, one of our volunteers should be able to. She got it. All right. Has anyone started on the second recipe yet? Our luscious lentils? Ah, yes. I want to talk luscious lentils, because it wasn't until I became a veg that I even had lentils in my life. It's like, how did I grow up never having a lentil? We all know nutritional powerhouse lentils are, right? It's the protein, what is it? A quarter cup dry, you receive 13 grams of usable, high quality protein. You also receive, let's talk about the fiber again. What did they say for Americans? What is our fiber intake supposed to be for a day? 20, in the mid 20 grams or so. That's not enough. It's not enough, and I don't understand why it's so low, because we have an explosive amount of colorectal cancer in our culture. We also have a lot of digestive issues, which can be avoided if we just had more fiber in our diets. So the luscious lentil comes to play in the fiber brigade. So what am I talking about fibers and lusciousness for? Because if you look at these little lentils, they're brown, they're good for winter. These are just normal ones. You can also enjoy the tiny black beluga lentils. Oh, they're so yummy. I also wanted to show for you how easy it is. How many folks here enjoy cooking, like to cook? With a show of hands. Oh, good. So you guys all know your way around a kitchen. So the reason I ask that is because my demo time isn't quite sufficient for me to cook the lentils before you. But you just pick up your lentils, rinse them off, put them in a pot. I bet this crowd is a hot pot. Are you guys all hot pot people too? Quick pot. What is that little pot? The Instapot people. Thank you for that. Are you guys Instapot people too? Yeah. I don't have one, so I just do it the old-fashioned way. Rinse them, throw them in the pot, add some water. I'm not one to measure things either, so please bear with me when I give these little guidelines for help. I hate to call them recipes because I want you to bring you to the plate, right? I want you to put your intuition through this and what your nutritional needs are, right? That's for you to come out. I'm just giving you guidelines here. So I'm one not to really measure things out. So this is what I do. I dump some lentils in a pot, figure it out, and then I add some water, right? Just add maybe water to cover the lentils. 2 inches? Yeah, that sounds about good. Just keep a close eye on them because you churn it up and bring it to a boil, then reduce the heat to a simmer, and so they're nice and happy there. And then they'll soften up and be ready to eat in about 15, 20 minutes. Is that what most people find? Lentils do have an expiration date. If you get your little fancy, pretty canning jars, you put them in the canning jar, and then they look pretty year after year, and then you decide you want to use them, they're probably not going to be happy about that. And they'll take forever to cook. So you want to make sure you use your lentils and keep them fresh. So let's go back over here to this little guideline here. Enough about the lentil, enough about the water. Yes, bay laurel leaves. How many of you folks enjoy cooking with the little California bay laurel? Good. I'm so happy about that because I said, can you pass these around just in case? I'm passing around a sample only for you folks who are not familiar, who can enjoy the scent of a fresh one. This isn't really fresh off the tree. You can use the fresh off the tree. They're abundant here in San Francisco. And it brings back one of my favorite memories when I first moved here over 20 years ago. I went up to Sea Ranch. If any of you folks ever been to Sea Ranch, know what I'm talking about. They had the soap, and I thought I was going to die. It was a bay laurel leaf soap. I thought that was the best thing ever. I thought I got to get my own tree, and I did get my own tree, and happily ever after with bay leaves. So the reason is it imparts a good flavor. You don't have to use the oil, the salt, the sugar. Just, lighten up your food with some natural herbs, right? They can bring an extra dimension to that. So when I was cooking up those lentils, I put a couple of these bay leaf trees in there, leaves in there, and that helped impart that wonderful component, especially for fall and winter foods. And then, what do, Patricia? Once all the little lentils are cooked up, you want to drain off any remaining liquid. And then let's talk about my favorite word to mispronounce. Umboshi plum paste, right? You folks see it? My recipe sheet does say Eden. Eden is an organic vegan food product. They focus a lot on macrobiotic foods. However, I enjoy and appreciate their purity of product. I've been, like I say, 15 years. I've recognized they really put forth an excellent product, and I've seen some other umeboshi paste that are degraded with other fillers that you want to avoid. This merely has the plum plus the shiso leaf, which you can get fresh at a lot of markets here in San Francisco. And the good thing is sodium's really low on this. It just takes a little bit here. I'm going to add some to my product here. So you literally, I think my recipe, my guideline here shows how much do I put in there? Did I say? That seems too much for me. So I know I wrote it, but I cook in a lot of large quantities often. So sometimes when I'm scaling down these recipes, sometimes they do, I don't really pay attention to that. So for this size of lentil, which is what, at least 4 servings or double that, then you probably would just want a little bit, like this small amount. Just start a little bit with that, and then you just want to mix it in. And I love the fact that a lot of the dishes I'm giving you here today are dishes that you can share with family members. You can say, if you have any little ones, or if you have just folks that you want to avoid, just they want to participate, but it's hard for them or challenging for them to participate, you can just put your lentils along with your little bit of umeboshi, and they can just kind of juggle it. And so you're light on the lentils, you're not mushing them up, and you're dispersing that umeboshi, and then you have it ready. Now, I say this like, yes, you can enjoy it as is, but it's even more enjoyable, of course, if you add your own favorite foods. I enjoy the fresh chopped raw onion. You see here I've given some other suggestions. But for you folks here today, what I wanted to do is convey the fact that, yes, you can just have the lentils prepared like this early in the week, and then you can enjoy them throughout the week. One thing I also highlighted a few weeks ago for those of you who were at the dinner is I had a build your own bowl type of approach to dinners, and so I placed the lentil with the umeboshi, and it went lickety-split like that, right? Just the flavor was something they could taste, but it wasn't always something they could identify. So that is my secret number 2 for you folks today. Did you have any questions, comments before we move on to the last and final point? Yes?
What you were just showing us was cooked, in that bag.
Yes.
Okay. You cook it up at the beginning of the week, and then you can eat it for a number of days.
You can enjoy it, absolutely. Or you can enjoy it in any other way that you prefer. It's just a good way to get folks to enjoy something that you know is good for you, but you may not always be drawn to it. Yes?
Would you ever use like the vegetable broth or as a base?
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to put forth the most basic of flavors for you to at least sample and taste and enjoy today. But of course, if you want to develop more of a flavor with that, I recommend you use the veggie broth. I'm not one to purchase veggie broth either, but I'm not one to put it, take all your vegetables, put them in the freezer, and take them out, make your broth that way. I typically enjoy making a fresh veggie broth. That's right. So I take my celery, carrot, whatever it is, and I blend it all up in one of these machines, and then you can enjoy fresh veggie broth. If you know you're going to cook your product, why use a canned broth, right? Just make up like a slew or whatever, a veggie liquid, and then you're ready to go. Okay, now we're going to go for the home run of food. If folks, yes, we can pass out I call it an oatmeal opportunity. Yes, it makes you giggle, it's a little funny, but you know what, this is what I thought. I thought, yeah, an oatmeal opportunity. Because, a lot of us folks, we advocate eating, we got to have our oatmeal, especially as we mature. It's good for us. Don't make me talk about that fiber again, but it's there. So here, I have some leftover oatmeal. A lot of times folks would just put this in the garbage, but this is for my frugal, foodie friends who say, I can't throw out that oatmeal. Well, you don't have to. Now you can make it into something even grumbly family members might enjoy, or kids, or if you're really busy, this is something you can enjoy on the run. So I'm taking my cup or so of oaties that have been cooked. This is for leftover oatmeal. And then what do I add to that? I said half to 1 cup of fruit. Now, the thing is, 1 cup of fruit might be too much for some fruits, right? Some fruits are, more sour or tart. And I enjoy the idea of using pumpkin. Yes, you can enjoy pumpkin in a raw state or a cooked state. Try to avoid the canned stuff. I know it's hard to, but think about it. But if you have any leftover pumpkin, now's the season to blend it up with some of this oatmeal as well as some of the warming spice. But for you folks today, you folks tasting that? You folks over here got your samples of your oatmeal? Okay, well, you're getting it. Ah, yes. Your sample, yes, has these wonderful organic blueberries. I typically freeze a lot of my berries because, they get they get bad on you so quickly. So yeah, I have some of this blueberry here to add a little bit of nutrition if I'm going to be enjoying this for a breakfast or breakfast snack. Oh yes, and then how much liquid? 2 cups. Well, you can use liquid, you can use water. It depends what your eating plan is looking like. This is just a veggie milk here in this glass that you can buy pre-made. I'm just going to dump that in there right now because veggie milk. You can even use oatmeal and make more oat milk to go with your Odie surprise. So there you go. You're going to want to add that. And then what else did I say? What did I say? Anything about sweetener? Oh, suggested additives. Okay. Now, for those of you who've had your sample and tasted it, this is some of the best high roller cacao. That means it's not the cooked cocoa, right? It's not the cooked chocolate. I live with a chocoholic, so I've learned to kind of appreciate some of these products. You just want to put a teaspoon or so because the flavor, if it's a high quality and fresh one, will really transfer and go through that product. And you'll enjoy it all the more. So is it a dessert? Is it a beverage? I don't know, but it's delightfully tasty. And then what you want to add to that, oh, just a little bit because I enjoy it adds a bit of caramelization flavor, is the raw coconut sugar. The raw coconut sugar, is somewhere here. We can do without it, however, but you want to add just maybe a little bit to develop the flavor profile, and it's a nice granular product. And I had everything up here, but what did I do? Oh, here it is. Okay, here's a little brown granulate. It doesn't take much, but it really can impact the flavor of your dish. Are you folks tasting that? Do you enjoy it? How's it going? Yeah, you know it. Okay, and so what else do I say here? Oh, yes, warming spice. You can add that because it's fall. You can add chia, the flax. You can add it all because these flavors, the oatmeal has a demulcent quality when it's blended, makes it easy to go down. So some of those more challenging flavors, you may have issues with in processing that. Of course, it goes on down the line. Oh, one other thing I wanted to add too, stevia. I know, folks, I've seen it all. It seems as though the stevia folks will say, oh, I don't like stevia. I don't like the way it tastes. I said, well, try it. Typically what I'll do is blend 2 or 3 non-nutritive or low glycemic sweeteners, if you will. So here we have our blueberry, we have our coconut sugar, and then we have our stevia. This particular stevia is actually, it's not in an alcohol base, so I enjoy that. I also enjoy using the liquid because it blends easily. You don't have a powder that's going to get dried up or gummy on you. I'll just add a little bit because a little bit does go a long way with this beverage. So there's your stevia, and then I think we're ready for our beverage. Now let's see here. I'm not familiar with this particular model. Anna, am I doing this right? I don't want the lid flying off like it did on me yesterday, almost. It would have been a messy kitchen. So there you see. This is delightful. And it's so quick and easy. Okay, I think it's ready. This is the exciting part. So there you have it. There's your oatmeal surprise. Would you folks ever guess that there's oatmeal in here? Anybody? I did leave it a little chunky because I enjoy stuff with, stuff in it, and I like to be able to, I don't want it completely smooth. Of course, you can blend it to your desired strength if you prefer. So with that said, that concludes today's demonstration at 11:15. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. And thank you for coming out. I do have my contact phone number there. Don't forget to sign up for Thanksgiving. It's always a sellout, and we only have so much space. So, I also have some of my samples up here to take home with you if you'd like. I have some umeboshi plum paste if you'd like to try that out, and leftover lentils. Thank you.